Welcome to Rachel Pilcher Writing Workshops Facebook Live, episode 15. What is my writing process? I am Rachel Pilcher, and tonight I will be discussing what I do to get my writing done. I know I've kind of hinted at it off and on throughout the previous episodes, so I want to kind of give you a straight up, honest to God, truthful what I do to get my writing done. Now, I can tell you that it has changed over the years and over even the past few months, because as a public school employee, I'm a high school librarian, I have a completely different writing process during the summer or during the different holidays that we get than I do whenever I am full-fledged at work, working from 7:30 until 3:45 in the afternoon. So I'm going to get started and just say that if you have looked at my latest blog post over on rachelpilcher.com, that you may already know that I decided that I was going to do the National Novel Writing Month. So I'm doing my NaNoWriMo challenge for this year, and I'm pretty much, well, I was going to say I'm in the thick of it, but I just started. It's November 4th, so I have written every day, so that's a good thing. I just noticed my stepmother Sharon. Hi Sharon, it's good to see you. And Richard Gonzalez is watching. Hi Richard, glad that you've joined me tonight. I want to tell you what my ideal writing process is, and then what my reality writing process is, because sometimes the ideal doesn't happen, and that's okay. And part of the reason why I want to share this with you is so that you know that life happens, that we're all real people, and things happen to where you can't always get to that ideal writing process. So the first thing I'm going to talk about, ideally, during the week, I try to get up every morning at 5 a.m. and take care of the business I need to take care of first thing in the morning, which is usually all of my cats thinking it's time to be fed, and taking care of the dog and letting him out. And Alyssa, hi Alyssa, thank you for joining. That means if I'm getting up at 5 a.m., I'm getting to bed pretty early the night before. So I try to be in bed by 9, which means that throughout the evening I am working towards getting ready for bed whenever it is that I get home. I do go to evening exercises a couple of times a week. So I go to Nia and I do yoga, so that gets me home around about 7. So whenever I get home at 7, I am rushing to fix dinner. My mom lives next door to me, so sometimes I fix dinner for her, or she'll come over if she's really nice, and I know she's going to be watching pretty soon. She'll come over and she'll make me dinner, which is always a nice thing to come home to. And then I'm able to get ready to go to bed and then get up the next morning and write. So that's in the ideal world. I get up, start writing around 5:20, 5:30ish. I do my morning pages because I do follow the Artist Way to get in 3 handwritten pages every morning, first thing, whatever's coming to my mind, and then I write for at least an hour. And I can tell you for the last few days that I've been doing the NaNoWriMo challenge, the Novel Writing Month challenge for November, I have actually been doing that. But leading up to that, it all depends on when I get to sleep. So here's the reality. If I get to sleep past 10, it's really hard for me to wake up. I am the most creative in the morning, which is unfortunate that I have to go to work early in the morning. So I like to sleep, and I will get up around 6-ish sometimes. And I usually spend that 20 minutes taking care of the cats and the dog, make my coffee, go from there, try to rush through my morning pages while I'm having breakfast, get ready and rush off to work. There's a lot of rushing involved sometimes in my mornings. And then in any downtimes that I have at work or at home during my lunch break, I will try to get in some writing during that time. And I can say that's not the best way to do your writing, but sometimes that's what you have to do. You have to work with the time that you have to do it. So if you have 10 minutes that you can just concentrate, get your writing down, that's when you have to do it. I have been finding, though, the past few days that I've been getting up super early and actually getting it done. I am really ready to go to bed at 9. So that helps, and then I can turn around and get right back up. So I spend those 20 minutes doing what I need to do. I get my morning pages. Sometimes I will eat breakfast beforehand, but a lot of times I'll just start writing, drink some coffee, get my writing in, and in about an hour, give or take, I usually have about 1,600 words written. Now, are those words great words? Some of them are. Some of them are also, just a bunch of junk, and I repeat myself sometimes whenever I'm writing because I don't go back through and edit, but sometimes I think, well, I could have said it this way instead, and instead of going through and deleting everything that I wrote, I'll just write down the other way that I thought it might work. So I do that, and then I have found that, you don't always need dialogue. You don't always need to put down all that description. What you're doing whenever you're doing your first initial writing is just getting the story down. You're getting things down on paper. And I have really found, especially over the last 4 days of doing NaNoWriMo, that I have to be extraordinarily structured and make sure that I do that. To not go back and say, well, I don't really like that word choice. I'll just jot that word down and maybe rewrite that sentence and go on. Just keep going. I don't describe what anything looks like unless it's already there. If it's not there, I don't stop and ponder, well, what do I want this room to look like? Do I want to have a green sofa? I don't care about that. That's stuff that gets taken care of in the next draft. So treating your writing to get it done, you have to get the initial story out. You have to get the ideas down. You can go back and edit later. So getting that editing done later that's your second draft. And the way that I'm looking at what I'm doing right now, which to kind of give you an idea of what I'm working on, it made it a little easier. I have an outline of a series of short stories that I'm writing. They're going to be interconnected and put together in a book of, the short stories are going to be vignettes. So they're all going to be set in the same location, but they have some people that are interconnected throughout the different stories, but they're not particularly about one particular main character. So it made it really easy, though, for me to go through and say, okay, so this chapter is going to be about this. This chapter is going to be about this. So they're each just different titled short stories, and I'm going through and adding the details that I want to include in that. And that made it a lot easier to be able to just get up. I can look at my list. I have about 35 of them. They're probably not all going to go into whatever this book is going to be, but I have 35 different story ideas that I can put in for these vignettes. And some of them have a lot more detail added to them than others. Some of them are just basic plot ideas. And I'm going to go through every morning, pick one of them, and go from there. So like I said, I get about 1,700 words written in an hour doing it that way. And if I have any dialogue that comes to mind whenever I'm doing it, because generally whenever I've started writing them down, I have a good idea of what I want these characters to say and how I want them to be. So it's pretty easy to go through and just jot some words. And I don't even add dialogue tags a lot of the times. I might just say, I'll create initials for them and say, random man says this, random female says that. And then I'll go through later, whenever I go through the editing process, to start doing my first draft, because I'm counting this as a super rough draft. When I go through and do my first draft and start adding other things to it, that's whenever these characters might have names. That's whenever the characters, you start finding out what they look like and who they are. And if I have, like I said, whenever I'm writing, if I have an idea of how I want that person to look, I'll jot it down. But I'm not going to focus on it. This kind of goes back a few episodes whenever I was talking about how to get through your writing, how to make it happen. You don't always have to worry about immediately putting down the information of, all of the descriptions. You can always just put things in brackets. And if you put it in brackets, you'll be able to get it done much faster. And then you can go back and fill in the information that you need to have for those brackets. So basically, I'm just treating this whole thing as a very rough draft. Not even a first draft, just a very rough draft. So, just looking at my notes to see if there's anything I've left out. No, there's nothing on that. I do want to kind of share with you where I am. If you have decided to do National Novel Writing Month, if you find me, I'm just listed as Rachel Pilcher. You can find me, you can buddy me, we can become friends and follow each other and support each other on the NaNoWriMo.org website, and that's NaNoWriMo. Very long, but it's really easy. If you just Google National Novel Writing Month, it'll take you right to their website. But I am at 8,085 words in 4 days. From what their tracking stuff says, I should be, if I continue at this rate, I should be at my 50,000 word goal by November 25th. So, before I get back from Thanksgiving break, I'll be at my goal. So that'll be pretty cool. And I'm hoping that I can continue to add words to my stories and continue to write more than the goal each day. The way that they break it down, the way you can get 50,000 words a day on NaNoWriMo is to do 1,667 words. And I've been averaging more than that. So if I can continue averaging more than that, I may actually be finished earlier than that. I just noticed that Monakia joined. Thank you for coming in, Miss Green. She is another co-worker of mine. And my mother just waved at me. Hi. And Mom, I said something a little earlier that you might want to go back and look at. It talks about, you making me dinner and stuff. But anyway, I'm pretty excited about this. This is the first year, and I have attempted it several times. And I usually get to, day 2 and kind of fall off and then go back like day 15 and think, oh, maybe I can get in 20,000 words in the next, 15 days. And it doesn't work. I never went back to do it. So I'm hoping to be able to continue with that. And that's and really what I want to do, this is the main thing with doing the National Novel Writing Month, is to put myself into a practice. And in putting myself into that practice is to create a habit for me, to where I do actually get back to getting up early, to doing my writing, and to getting things done. Because, someday I'd like to actually publish something that I've written. And I have all of these ideas and all of these synopsises and folders upon folders in my in my cloud storage that have all these great story ideas, and I don't seem to actually get out and get them done. I'm like a lot of you out there that are probably writing, but you're not really doing anything with that writing. So I hope that this encourages you, because I'm right there with you, and I'm teaching people how to do writing. And I publish writers, but I want to also be part of that experience, because part of the reason why I got into all this is because I wanted to have time to write. So I hope that you have a great evening. I do want to remind you, let me pull up my notes again, our next Facebook Live is going to be on, I believe it's November 18th. Yes, November 18th, episode 16, and the topic is going to be, that is the Sunday right before Thanksgiving. So it's very apropos. The topic is going to be the holidays and writing. How do you do it? It may be very similar to what I've just gone over. But there are all kinds of things that you can do to make sure that you get your writing in during the holidays. So I hope that you'll join me on the 18th at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I want to remind you, this Tuesday, November 6th, is Election Day all across the United States. So if you haven't gone to vote during early voting, or if they don't have it in your location, make sure you get out, go vote, make your voice heard. Thank you very much, and enjoy the evening.